Parents of girls with OnlyFans. How'd you find out what they do? Story 1. My cousin did it when her father learned he wasn't angry since it had paid for her rent. But when he learned that she also worked the pole a few days a month at a strip club, he became quite angry. How do you think I pay for the vacations I go was the only comment she could muster. Story 2. My kid submitted the incorrect movie to the group chat by mistake. She always had money but no employment, so I was a little disappointed when I learned that she wasn't selling drugs or any other horrible thing. Although I hope it won't have any long-term effects on any potential future career she could have. At least she is earning money and is no longer depending on me, so that's a benefit. It eludes me, as if I won't be wary about my kids' new clothing, computers, or other possessions. Story 3. My dad found out when I tried to show him something else on my phone, and he began looking through my phone. He is not the parent, and I no longer have just fans, but it was a lesson learned for both of us. So if I show him anything, I hold the phone, and he doesn't touch it. Additionally, I meticulously organize every picture into albums so that visitors may only view the images I want them to see. He wasn't thrilled, but it had no effect on our relationship at all, and we seldom bring it up now. Story 4. My daughter, who is now 24 years old, chose to be married at 18 and become a stripper. She said she enjoyed the money and attention in a very open manner. There was no concealing it since we reside in a tiny Ohio community where people join gentlemen's clubs and discuss everyone's personal affairs. Because she has adolescent brothers and friends' parents who visit such websites, we learned about her only admirers and other services. We also learned that her brothers have been upset by the disgrace of it. Despite my best efforts, I have had to love and support her from a distance, since it has been socially embarrassing to know that half of our county has seen or used my daughter's services, including my husband's uncle, who wasn't aware of her at the time. With her background and circumstances, I find it difficult to have a positive opinion of males. I sobbed and blamed myself. I made an effort to promote college. I was enraged. I'm just checking it out right now. I can't stop her from putting herself out there for a carefree existence. Story 5. When I began working on it again, aggressively in an effort to pull ahead of the "I'll tell everyone you love what you do" crowd, a girl informed my parents. "Oh, should I go buy pearls? Too clutch," Mom essentially said. She does get annoyed by it sometimes, but I've done a great job of normalizing it by saying stuff like how ridiculous writing sexy copy is. We speak a lot about the photographic side, and in all honesty, it may be the silliest thing. Hello, she is a qualified artist who is creating a logo for me. Dad essentially acts as the conversation never took place. Although he doesn't care much, it made him uncomfortable and he has more important things to worry about. Story 6. Since 2008, we have produced unique fetish videos. Long ago, the husband and wife informed the parents. Mom and Dad are completely okay with it. Mine. They just find it hard to believe what individuals would pay for and seek for. Dad of the wife wasn't happy, of course, but as long as we don't tell him too many information, he's now okay. Even though we don't appear in as many videos anymore, we still create hundreds each month. When I informed my grandfather that he was stuttering, he was very baffled and said, "Wait, what? Jesus Christ, I thought you were the good one," he replied when I finished showing him some images. "Grandpa, that image of you holding a Playboy magazine from your time in the Navy is right there on the wall." His answer: "That is typical. He kept asking how work was doing, and I really don't enjoy lying to people, so I had to tell him it was uncomfortable and bad at the time when my kid discovered he wasn't my wife's biological son. He was just 15 when he made some pretty offensive remarks about my wife, and then we spoke. Just put it like that. If we're thinking that way, I didn't hit my child. It was only a heated dispute that wasn't handled properly. He is now fine. He's 26. We periodically discuss some of the stranger material." Story 7. Kid in this circumstance. Because it is a significant part of my life and I am aware that nothing on the internet is ever really private, I actually informed my parents about it. If it ever came up one day, I didn't want it to come as a surprise. Even if they aren't overjoyed about it, it has helped a bit with certain medical costs, and it is difficult to disagree with that if you aren't willing to assist. I don't precisely spend outrageous amounts of money like those web stories. Most females who are merely fans aren't so fortunate. I do not, however, own any secrets. Story 8. My dad and I recently spoke about OnlyFans. I'm 32 years old. He said that if he were a woman, he wouldn't be hesitant to identify the ideal market and sell his ass. He saw a news article about a lady who enjoyed a lavish vacation with her partner after selling her leftover bathwater for thousands of dollars. I said that it seemed like it may be simple money if you discovered your audience and focused on it. The notion of really talking to people turned her off. I had the impression that if I chose to earn money in that manner, he would not be at all uncomfortable or embarrassed. He has always believed in giving his girls independence. Story 9. The quantity of money that goes through that website still astounds me. Do people not realize that the internet already has a limitless supply of boobs? How much money should I spend on new boobs to look at? Is it until they physically sell water bottles to people who are drowning that they realize they are actively losing their lives? Story 10. During a family gathering, my sister said that she was working hard and earning money exclusively from admirers. This was after she had had too much alcohol. My father had previously bugged her about still not having a job. She spent almost a year earning her business degree from an Ivy League university where he covered her whole tuition. Without recognizing it and considering her foolish spending habits, she was boasting about earning $1,500 per month with hardly moving a finger. She cannot save herself from it at all. He was probably simply quite disappointed, I'm sure, not because she was disclosing her identity to strangers online. He informed her, but rather because he felt like a failure for having raised someone who was so entitled and lazy. She is undoubtedly capable of doing quality work since she is truly brilliant and has always done well in school. But the friends she made at university have undoubtedly had a detrimental impact on her, since they are some of the most ungrateful, entitled individuals I have ever had the unfortunate occasion to meet. When her friend's former roommate returned on a date when I was paying a visit to her, she began telling me about how the man had been too poor to purchase her a bottle of crystal champagne to sip on the first date. Story 11. A handful of my friends just have fan accounts, and they have encountered a broad range of responses. It seems since that some parents were worried, others are frightened and enraged. Some just shrugged their shoulders and seemed unconcerned. At least she is making some money and is not going hungry. None of the parents seem to be encouraging. The one thing that unites them all, however, is that they are all glad their child didn't have to go to potentially hazardous locations to serve as a client. Even though the teacher's face isn't visible in any of the photos or beds, a snoopy student discovered her single fan account after nearly 6 months of instruction, teasing with nothing but underwear. She had a highly recognizable and noticeable tattoo that allowed her school's administration to recognize her right away. They naturally raised their worries and enthusiastically supported her for the sake of her reputation in the schools. Parents were calling them in a sour mood, so they decided to cancel the account. However, her career had already suffered harm by that point. Story 12. I instilled in my daughter the idea that having sex involves effort from an early age. She has always been urged to have a happy, healthy, and secure life. She shared accomplishments with us, such as making the top 2, and was really open with us about how she set up her account. We've always been there for her, assisting with taxes, etc. It's a job that pays far more than the majority of other options. As long as it keeps her hand healthy, we'll support her. Story 13. For over a year now, my sister has had an OnlyFans. She had a lot of luck. She is quite prosperous and earns more than enough to make it worthwhile for her. Our mother minimized the kind of stuff our sister would be posting because she knew from the moment she set up the account that she would contact her as soon as she did. I requested the opinion of my mom. I'm not really letting myself to consider, accept, or feel anything about it, I don't care about the subject matter. I'm denying it. I opt to trust my sister's assurances that there isn't anything inappropriate there rather than looking into it. Do I really believe this woman? Most likely not. It has never been a secret and never will be. I believe she informed her friends and family through all of her personal social media accounts. So odd and unreal right now. Sometimes when someone casually inquires about my sister's profession, her mother will just mention it. She is a successful influencer, which is also accurate, and that's all I like to say about her. Story 14. Several 100,000 people follow the Instagram account of my best friend's fiance's cousin, a well-known OnlyFans creator. Although I haven't met her yet, I'm excited to do so during the wedding in the summer of next year. She has troubles with her angry father, as you could surely assume, and he is not in her life. Her mother, on the other hand, is very aware and understanding. She reportedly provides for all of her immediate family members and even purchased her mother a property. Story 15. I've known the girl since she was a little child, since I'm great friends with the family. At the age of 20, she feels that it is much superior than other types of job. They make light of the time 10 p.m. Do you have any idea where your kids are as a result of her home office? Has a bedroom, bathroom, and place for her to work on the top level of the home. They are aware of her respect and safe for independence. They won't collect her rent. As her parents, they are sure that they would never act in such a manner. However, she genuinely appreciates being able to take care of them, deal with unexpected situations like vehicle repairs, assist with bills, groceries, pet care, etc. If she soon has enough money for a down payment on a home, I wouldn't be shocked. Their pride in her freedom is palpable. I am aware of the horrifying tales of families discovering the truth and forsaking their members. It's good to know that they are a stable, loving family, however. Story 16. I bought outfits for her to try on every day, maxing up my credit card in the process. It worked out. Her audience increased by thrice as a result. I quit my job and work full-time for her as producer, writer, and security when she goes outside. I also recruited 2 former criminals to work in shifts. Who would have imagined we'd be operating out of a trailer and being this successful and wealthy? We will soon be buying a house in the good part of town, which will have a custom-built filming room for her, along with separate walk-in closets for her natty wear heels and cosplay gear and toys. I love my little child so much. Sarcasm. Story 17. My sister was going to start her own platform. She needed someone to film and take photos. She actually asked my mother and myself. My mom was hesitant but willing. I wanted a photographer's percentage. Story 18. My sister got her tax paperwork from a video, but I'm not sure whether just Fan provides them. She was then inadvertently delivered to my father's address. He is stupid Alabama guy, so even after 2 years, he still struggles. Told the family as a whole, stop giving her financial assistance. She is now funding her own college education, and I'm proud of her. Story 19. I have a buddy who is reasonably successful, not wealthy, but who earns a good living and is solid financially. When Dad learned, he was upset and outraged. Now that he drives a new Cadillac X, he is not nearly as upset or irritated. Although her mother doesn't like it, she chooses to overlook it and just mentions how successful my daughter is. Story 20. My daughter secretly recorded some video with me. I first believed she was acting like Lee's kid, but I subsequently understood she was acting that way to make money. I believed that I had raised her better than that until I discovered myself on a leak website. Story 21. She had to admit that I handle her taxes in. I'm totally okay with it. She reassures me that when she meets with other people in the business to create material, she is being safe. I'm pleased if she is happy. Story 22. I informed my parents personally about, you know what they told me, don't you? They don't know what I drank before shooting, which is good since you're not an alcoholic, lol. Story 23. When my old supervisor learned that my daughter was OnlyFans at work, he was honest about it and even provided the Instagram link for her. Even one of the people we worked with was allegedly one of the men she allegedly utilized in a film, according to a rumor. Since it was public, he must have been unhappy, but I can only assume that he wasn't pleased. At least she will get paid. Story 24. At one time, I had a family. No more. Similar to Launch or Apex, it was moderate. I create material for Fort. My mother advised me to go all out and create more extreme stuff because you've already had one foot in the door, pun intended. My father suggested that because my balls helped you, I should get 10. In case you ever wanted to get me one, I also need a new fishing rod. My parents had distinct builds. Story 25. I was meeting up with a cousin when he said that he had recently learned that his daughter worked at a club and had an OnlyFans account. He said that it destroyed clubs for him, changed the way he saw ladies, and made it impossible for him to ever enjoy going out with women again. Aside from that, he didn't really care. This, in my opinion, is the true problem for guys. When the girl belongs to someone else, everything is perfect. There is chilling, but when they learn that their own daughter is being sexually assaulted by other guys like him, that's when it becomes an issue. Story 26, I'm an erotic hypnotist and online sex worker, but I don't have any just admirers. My parents are aware since I informed them my dad's response was a little uneasy, but he doesn't seem to mind. You can't do that, my mother said. You are unable to... That was strange. She just doesn't want to hear about it anymore. Understandably. Story 27. For example, I can see their home from the porch of my neighbor, who has a daughter who began at CB and FC and FC at the age of 18. Now, 21. I saw them yelling and fighting. She is well liked. She's had a great performance and made a lot of money, but she's always felt weird. She might definitely have an undetected condition, in my opinion. Her Twitter feed is an exciting trip. She would tweet about how her parents had complained about how noisy she had been the night before. She was an alcoholic and often sad. Sounds really out of control. She would repeatedly give up and then return with a new name. She now exclusively serves her admirers. Sometimes I witness her stepping out of the vehicle while her mom is driving right in the middle of the street unhappy about something, sobbing, and then just going home. Her home must be stressful. Parents no longer greet their children. Observe seclusion. They often have an 80-year-old appearance. There is a mess, however, from the outside. Until you look carefully, it seems to be just a second suburban home. Don't make anybody desire that. Furthermore, it's hell if somebody tells you, oh, it's all good, since they are deceiving both you and themselves. Story 28. Sister-in-law is deceased and acts now. She is a stunning 19-year-old who was essentially abandoned in the country with nothing except an internet connection and a lover who lives half a nation away. Her lack of connection to a respectable local life and media problem have prevented her from going to anywhere within 30 miles that is worth the drive. She was the youngest and was always treated like a princess, so along with her poor health and lack of personal accomplishment drive, she'd definitely find it quite difficult to work a 9-to-5 job. When everything was revealed in the spring, her parents reacted violently. They ended up looking through her phone photos for some reason, and it wasn't long before they understood she wasn't just hanging out with her boyfriend. The laptop we purchased her was ultimately seized, so it won't be utilized for this. That was really gory. According to what I've heard, they did indeed temporarily lock her out of her accounts and take away her only source of money as a young, unambitious girl. She eventually upgraded to a personal Chromebook and phone account, which was my main concern. She began using the camera once again for transmitting and editing all of that. No doxing regulation. You keep your address a secret. Get yourself at least a cushion. Story 29. My sister-in-law is frank about who her true supporters are. Although it's not her primary work, it does provide some extra income. She and my brother have a by-side open and casually polyamorous relationship that dates back to before they were even engaged. As a result, few people actually raise an eyebrow at her, also engaging in sexual activity. She just doesn't tell her relatives her username. Naturally, she sometimes tells humorous anecdotes about her customers. My mother occasionally finds these stories odd, but she typically gets over it when I ask her what the real issue is. On the other side, her mother despises it. At best, their relationship was already tense. However, the sister-in-law kind of enjoys being the family letdown at this point. If I remember properly, my sister-in-law's brother was no worse than the typical young adult when her mom was hitting him for not having his life together. The only fan material was disclosed by the sister-in-law to the brother so that he would be aware that he would never be the child whose lifestyle their mother detested the most. He was essentially allowed to use it in disputes by hey, at least I'm not doing porn, you know? Story 30. My heart was somewhat broken by a parent who opted to earn some additional cash in this manner. She obtained the W-2 form and looked up the name, which is how I learned. She protests that is not how I was taught, but I simply informed her that I want to make sure she is safe and treating herself with respect. She claims that it is usual practice, not even attempted to locate her postings. Even if I did know how to accomplish it, I couldn't do it. She was a child care employee full-time as well. Likewise, performed this ad hoc. Just pray that it doesn't have a bad impact on her personally or professionally.